there was a real sensitivity to any potential for American casualties at the beginning. So everything was going to be remote, at a distance. Americans weren't going to be in harm's way, and that limited our ability to control a lot, right? To influence what was actually taking place. Additionally, the National Security Council at that time had a firm hand, so there was no delegation of authority down, or not none, but there was little. So a lot of things were being very centrally controlled from the NSC, which made decision making very slow. Uh, Third, we had a problem. The Syrian Civil War had been going on for almost 4 years by this point in time. So a lot of the viable partners who were, not necessarily jihadists, had been either killed off or absorbed into jihadist organizations. There were a lot of people who were not jihadis who were looking to fight Assad. And keeping in mind, that was not our DoD mission. We were not a counter-Assad task force at all. But these viable organizations that were dying on the vine without any support, so they were willing to join more resourced organizations, many of those being resourced by nefarious actors. And then one of the biggest limiting factors was we put this prohibition on anyone who joined the new Syrian force, and some of them didn't find out until they were in training in other countries. Oh, by the way, if you sign on to this, you can never fight Assadist forces. And they said, well, I'm signing up to fight anybody who's threatening my hometown, basically. Like and that sometimes is ISIS, and it sometimes is Assad. And one of the things I don't think we really appreciated is for the average Syrian, the European refugee flows that were going out were not running away from ISIS. They were running away from Assad. At one point in time, ISIS was believed to have killed anywhere between 10 and 20,000 Syrian civilians. At the same time, Assad had killed 400,000 Syrian civilians. So when you're the average Syrian Sunni, the threat to your life, limb, eyesight, well-being is coming from Assad, and not and depending on where you live, but generally it's not coming from the ISIS fighters. So a lot of these guys, they were all about fighting ISIS, but not only fighting ISIS.